Let's begin.
100 years ago, in Columbus, Ohio, the year is 2014. As population continued to grow during the early 2000s, a noticeable decrease in natural resources was observed. The most affected resource was water. Even though the landscape may not show it, the quality of water was very poor. With a scarce water supply, drastic changes in weather, and constant urbanization, air and water pollution began to have adverse effects on the environment. The lush vegetation began to show signs of degradation. In the year 2034, Columbus experienced the biggest snowstorm in history. Due to the high levels of pollution, both in the air and water, there were extreme changes in weather. Ten years later, in response to both the lack of natural resources and the lack of natural vegetation, Columbus implemented the Green Movement. This movement was in response to the extreme climate change and hoped to lower CO2 emissions. Technology improved in hopes to minimize pollution and in attempt to counter extreme changes in weather. With these technological improvements, Columbus was pushed into the 2050s, or the extreme technological age. This age is associated with massive technological growth, as well as fierce international competition, which in most cases, like this one, led to conflict. Countries like China were experiencing extreme overpopulation, which forced the country to expand, leading to global conflict. This conflict touched Columbus in the War of 2064. China and North Korea joined forces to invade the U.S. in an attempt to conquer various Midwest cities, including Columbus. After this war, the city was destroyed. Due to massive chemical warfare, the entire city's atmosphere experienced massive chemical pollution. City structures were affected by the chemical and collapsed. Columbus was left in ruins. Chemical pollution in the air was so significant that by the early 2080s, the entire city of Columbus was evacuated. As massive populations migrated away from the major cities, the cities were left in ruins and completely abandoned. Although weather did begin to show signs of normalcy, the structures slowly collapsed due to the chemical pollution, and Columbus as we know it was destroyed. Through a decade of booming economies, massive growth, even more significant pollution, and the collapse of the entire city, by 2114 the only thing that remains is the natural, untouched, unaffected landscape.